Okay.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome to you wherever you're tuned in from, whatever time you get to watch this episode. We are happy to have you. We want to apologize for being late um, due to some technical glitches, but we are happy to be finally live. And today's topic is going to be a series of 3 episodes that we have planned based on loss and grief. 2020 has been a very, very tough year for most of us. And I'm sure many of us, even as the year is ending, we are counting some losses. And as we will discover, we are going to understand what losses are, what grief is, and what we can do to be able to navigate life better. And the topic of loss and grief is very wide but very important because it helps us in being able to move through the motions of life without getting stuck. To help us tackle this topic is Julius Gitari. In my mind, I call him Dr. Julius Gitari because he's very, very knowledgeable in this subject and very competent. He is an accomplished counseling psychologist and also a trainer of trainers. He is a family mentor at Redeemed Christian Church of God, where he runs a program for young boys called Kingdom Morans. And he is passionate about developing people's coping mechanisms. His background na training ni mingi, sio CV ni mrefu. It's in theology and psychology and also security management. He has been in the helping profession for over 20 years. He's married, and today he joins us to help us tackle this topic. Karibu sana, Julius.
Thank you, Wambui. I'm
Mm,
delighted to be with you for this session.
yes,
Yeah, so how are you doing from the other end?
I'm also fine. I'm very eager also for you to take us through it. And
Yes,
without wasting much time, we'll just go straight into it.
thank you.
Please tell us, what is loss?
What is loss?
Yeah.
Well, the term loss is a compound term, and compound in the sense that to the general public or to a layman perspective, when the term loss comes, people tend to think about it in terms of death. However, from our perspective today and for the purpose of this session, we define loss as a state of being deprived, something one has had, or a failure to keep something that one had, or a failure to achieve something that you had the purpose to get. That one is a loss. And in its dimension, it covers a facet of dimensions in our daily living. So if you are aiming to achieve a certain grade, maybe at the academic level, you've not achieved it, that is a loss. If probably you had something, a gadget like your mobile phone, and you lost it, that is a loss. If you're in a relationship and that relationship did not materialize, that is a loss. So it's a compound term. It's not necessarily about losing a loved one. Yet even losing a loved one is also a significant loss, as you see probably as we continue this session.
Okay.
So in brief, that is how I can define a loss, Madam
Okay.
Wambui.
Okay. Thank you for that very detailed definition. And I like that you've said that there are different types of losses. So could you tell
Yes.
us about the different types of losses?
Now, from a scholarly point of view, I'll talk about maybe two. I'll talk about loss in two terms. We have two types of losses. One of the losses, the loss we normally call the physical losses, and the physical losses. Something physical is something that is tangible. Something has had that particular thing. That's a physical loss. And majorly, physical losses are very easy to recognize. because simply they are to do with touch, something that is tangible. That is the first category of losses. Then we have got the physical losses. The second category, which is very critical, is the symbolic losses. Now, when you talk about, let me just recapture it again and say that physical losses, they have to do with the things that are tangible, something you can be able to touch. Like if I'm living with you as my spouse and I die, then you undergo a physical loss because I'm tangible. I'm not a spirit. Though a human being is both a spirit and a soul, I am not the physical. I am not, you could be able to touch me, so that is physical loss. If my house burned, that's a physical loss. If my car is stolen, that is a physical loss. If I lose my mobile phone, that's a physical loss. However, when it comes to symbolic losses, they are not tangible, but they have a lot of pain that we go through. Examples of symbolic losses is a loss of a relationship, a divorce, a demotion from the place of work is something, even a loss of my status. Maybe if I was given a certain status somewhere, then I'm demoted or I'm sacked. That position is a symbolic loss. It's not tangible, but it has got a major impact on my life.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there any psychological losses? Can we put psychological losses there?
Now, psychological losses, we will put them under the symbolic losses because psychology is something abstract. When you talk about symbolic losses, they are abstract in nature, and therefore psychological losses, they are part of the symbolic losses because psychology is something you cannot be able to touch. We infer. Yeah, it's something not tangible. Like when I tell you I am having stress, you cannot touch stress, but I'm feeling I'm stressed. I do that.
Yes.
When I'm telling you I'm depressed, you cannot touch depression, but deep within me, I'm experiencing that thing. I'm not at an homeostatic state or unbalanced. Yes.
Okay.
I hope you're able to conceptualize the idea.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Welcome.
Please let us know then.
Yes.
Now you're beginning to make things clearer and to widen our scope and understanding of loss.
Thank you.
What are some of the misconceptions or myths that are associated with losses, or even the definition of losses?
Well, when the losses come, when we go through losses, the environment where we live and our psychological makeup have got a way of helping us to cheat the reality so that we don't experience the actual pain. And as a result, there are so many myths. Some of the myths are religious in nature, some of them they are cultural, some of them they are from our own personal experiences, and some of them they are as a result of our psychological makeup. And so maybe an example of a myth is, for instance, when somebody dies and we see that the individual has been promoted, or somebody has been or maybe some of the languages would like to use that it is the will of God. True, it is the will of God, but the reality is we want to use some spiritual and psychological painkillers to run away from the reality. And then based on the same context, probably when something happened that has to do with the losses, sometimes we have got the tendency to use something called rationalization, whereby we want to justify the reason for that loss taking place. Maybe somebody would like to say that at least this incident meant to finish me, but God thwarted it. It's a myth because losses are life is about losses, and losses are about life. So as long as I'm living, as long as you're living, we cannot run away from losses. So the most important thing is to face it head on and accept the reality of it, deal with it, and proceed. Because these losses can make us to be stuck in life and able to progress. So then sometimes losses might be attached culturally to witchcraft. And I know witchcraft will shed a lot of cold embrace to many people. Losses can also be attached to the curses, and especially from our cultural orientation, and I'm dealing with more than 48 cultures, especially in Kenya. Our cultures can have that kind of a link that this loss is coming because of a curse by somebody who departed. And like from some cultural background, I tend to hear that the tongue of somebody who is below the cloud is very, very, very dangerous. And this can really complicate people's lives, and they send a lot of trauma and a lot of fear to people. Then there is also the tendency to associate this thing with the God. It is God. This loving God is the reason behind all this, or we associate it with the devil. But in reality, when those kind of myths are coming, the key thing we need to understand is that the people are in the heart, so they are dealing with emotions, which now we tend to cover up and try to justify. And there are several myths, but now because of time also, I'm trying to
It's
moderate.
okay. Just continue. We have enough time. Continue unpacking the myths, because
Yeah.
if we fail to identify the myths, they
Mm.
will trap us. They will trap us.
So we have got the myth which are going to be associated with our cultures, and there are many. Like they used to do with the unseen world, the spiritual world, from the African perspective. That is from the African perspective, we have got the physical world and the unseen world, whereby we talk about our ancestors, and therefore losses will be much associated majorly with it is our ancestors who are now angry. Probably they are passing through the death because the packages that they went with, they have finished it. And so people will really tend to say that at least those spirits now, they are the ones who have come because they need of probably the blood, probably other sacrifices. And as a result, people now tend to think that there's those spirits. And that's why you see people even going far, a notch higher, even to do some sacrifices to break those kind of covenants. And we need to be careful, especially now speaking from the believer's perspective, from born again Christians, these rituals which will come with some cultural orientation, if it is not seen through the perspective of the Word of God, it might make us to enter into the demonic covenants, which can really disturb us. So we have to understand our spirituality, we have to understand our cultural spirituality, and even our well-being, so that at least can be able to dissect and be able to know which coat we are wearing. And so we also look at some of the myths, like whereby even our naming. Sometimes we like to call somebody the name, not of a human being, not of an animal, but of even a reptile or a snake or something weird, or even a tree. The aim is to thwart these kind of losses. Like probably where I'm coming from, I know people will be given names, even snakes, names of trees, names of animals, simply because probably the family lost loved ones, one following the other, and as a result, now they would like the next child to be born, to be given a name which does not connote a human being, so that the demons or the spirits, and I'm putting those spirits in quotes, the spirits in quotes will not be praised, and as a result, they will not eat this new life that has come. And so you discover people being called names of cats, names of hyenas, names of horses, names of donkeys, names of trees, names of even things, some names that we can not even know the meaning of those names. This is associated with the losses that people went through, and they would like to thwart those spirits. So that, and I'm talking about the spirits in quotes, so that at least they are not going to be happy with this new song and they kill it. And people will go far and wide even to do rituals to ensure they break this kind of cons. And in this process of these rituals, sometimes people can also engage in spirits that are not in line with the will of God, and therefore we get mixed up. So we are supposed to be very careful, especially from the believer's perspective, whatever is happening, and check everything through the word of God or through the eternal perspective.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Yes,
you for that.
welcome.
And we'll come a bit. I know I'm sure our audience are tuned in. There's Berry Loguta saying it's a good topic. I'm locked in from Nairobi. Thank you, Beryl. Please post your questions and comments, if any, and whatever time you watch this broadcast, please leave your questions and we'll be sure to get back to you. We usually hear these words: bereavement, mourning, grieving, loss and grief. Differentiate them for us. Differentiate them for us.
Wow. Now, we believe me. So begin with the grief, and from our dialect or from our mother tongue interpretation, we tend to confuse these ones. Thank you for bringing those in praise so that we clarify them for the purpose of our audience. And so we can begin by defining the term grief. So when talking about grief, we normally mean, we define grief as the natural expected reaction to a loss. Grief is the natural expected reaction to a loss. What does this mean? Because I've lost something very significant, something significant in my life, then I am not just a totem pole. I'm not just a lock. I'm a human being with the hormones, with the feelings, with the thoughts, and with all this. I'm a living being. I'm a living soul. I'm a spirit that is packaged by the Creator with emotions. And therefore, for me to pretend nothing has happened, that is at the highest level of abnormality ever. Therefore, when I do something significant, it doesn't matter how small it might look to the eye of the beholder or to the eye of the audience, but to me, the person who has gone through a loss, I have lost something that I treasured, then definitely the statistical norm or the norm or the social norm is that because I'm a being, I am expected to naturally react. I need to be reactive. How will I react? I can become very, very restless. I can be in a state of shock. I can be so much disturbed. If those things are not happening, then this individual, we are dealing with now with the individual that require another professional, like now a psychiatrist. I've become now a case for the medical treatment because naturally I'm expected to react because something negative, something bad has happened to me. So if there's no reaction, then definitely we question the well-being of this particular person. Yet, on the same point of this natural expected reaction, I would say that again, God has wired us differently. Our Creator has wired us differently because of our personality makeup, and because of this, there are some people who will react instantly. Others will take time before they react. Yet, if they fail to react, then definitely intervention is supposed to be done in a professional way because now we see that there's something wrong. So we expect it to react. And majorly, what I would say is that at least it is not abnormal to react. When we are reacting to a loss, it is the expected rule, is the norm that is expected. So it is okay, it is normal for people to react when they undergo through loss. And even if I'm supposed to go and see my dentist tomorrow, and he give me the prescription that one of my teeth is going to be extracted, that is a loss, and I'll grieve over it. If I don't grieve over it, it will have other ripple effect in the future. I'm preparing for something complicated in the future. So it's important for me to react so that I deal with that issue. Maybe I can also give probably another, maybe for the purpose of also clarity, probably I can also give another definition of the same grief, and they say it can also be a process. We can also define grief as a process of experiencing psychological, social, and the physical reactions to the perception of a loss. I'll repeat, we can also define grief as the process, meaning because it's a process, something that will go in stages and something that takes time. So it's a process of experiencing psychological, social, and the physical reactions to an individual's perception of loss. And so from that definition, you see now there are three very important areas of our functionality. That is the psychological functionality of an individual, then the social functionality of an individual, and then the physical. So when I've gone through a loss, you might greet me and appear as if I'm not hand whether you greeted me because psychologically I am disturbed. My thoughts and my feelings are not in order, and therefore whatever behavior I'm portraying, it is not in line with the thought processes because I'm processing what? The loss. So I'm grieving, I'm processing the loss. Even when you see me on the loan, psychologically I'm processing. Then socially, I might be withdrawn from you. I will not visit you, or even when you come my way, I will not talk to you. I want to be withdrawn in a way. I'm not bad. I'm not having any malice with you. It's only that I'm in the world of processing. Then physically, my body might start reacting. Physique is my physical makeup. So physically, you might see that probably today I didn't apply my Vaseline or oil if I normally apply to my face. You see something different. The joy that you've been seeing and the countenance in my face now has changed. I'm somehow sad. That is physically. Even probably my walking style has changed. And probably I'm not even having appetite. The joy that has been made has been properly drained. And so you see, this is not the character I know. And it is very easy to pick that I'm greedy because I'm able to see that the Julius you know is not the one now I've met today. So it's because I'm going through the grieving process. I'm in that process of explicit psychological, social, and the physical reaction. You might give me a call and I refuse to answer, not because I have any malice, but because I'm in a wound of processing the grief that I've gone through. I hope, Madam Wanboy, that is clear.
Yeah, that's a very thorough explanation.
Thank you.
I'm seeing a comment, a question from one of the audience, and it's Beryl
Yes.
asking,
Yes.
people lose their loved ones and sometimes they don't know how to react to the situation. And this can really take a toll on them. What can you tell such people?
Thank you, Beryl, for that wonderful question. And it's not only a question for you, but a question for me and the others. And I want to thank God for the initiative you've taken to ask that kind of a question, because that's where we might tend to get lost. So now you've narrowed your question now to the issue with the death and the dying, though I was in general talking about the loss in general. So those kind of people, barely, who have lost a loved ones in their life, and sometimes they are wondering how to go about it. Most important thing is first of all to seek help, because so they need to seek the help of a professional to be able to process what they have gone through, to go through what we call the grief work, so that they can be able to process their psychological makeup. They can be able to process their social makeup and even their physical makeup, lest they enter into a state we normally call the pathological grief. Pathology is sickness. A condition has moved from just a general wound, which you call trauma, from the general wound because they were wounded by the loss of a loved one, and this wound has not been processed. Now, when it's a delay, now we'll be dealing with something called delayed grief or a pathological grief. And when it reaches there, things have gone hayway. They have become now complicated. And allow me to say that we as your friends, and especially we the believers who stand with you, will get wonderful scriptures to give you support, but the scriptures will not be enough here, because remember the definition of the term human means humus. Man means spirit. Woman means a spirit with a womb, and therefore you are both spiritual and earthly. From the spiritual dimensions, those wonderful scriptures that believers will support you with, they are good, because they are only catering for your spiritual perspective. This other being here, from the soil that God made and the breath of life, this requires psychological intervention And that is now where you need a balance. A professional counselor or a psychologist will be able to come in and assist you to process, because they depending on the approach, we normally say that when people have gone through this kind of a situation, a loss, they are supposed to go through 5 stages. They are also supposed to do at least 4 major tasks of mourning. They are supposed to be taken through the grief work so that they can be able to say an appropriate goodbye, lest they keep the so-called mementos or the items for the loved ones, the person who has died. They remain with this particular person throughout their life. They remain doing rituals which communicate that they have not dealt with this particular person. Their life stop where the cross was put, and we said sunset and the sunrise will remain there. And that means that the individual has been impaired and been affected in 6 dimensions of a normal human being's functioning. Spiritually, this individual has been affected. Physically, the individual is affected. Philosophically, the individual is affected. Sorry, am I very fast? Have I become very fast?
Niko kwa program.
Yes, okay. So physically, the individual gets. Sorry.
Yeah, please.
So I'm saying physically the individual gets affected, spiritually the individual gets affected, philosophically the individual gets affected, socially the individual gets affected, psychologically the individual gets affected, and even emotionally the individual gets affected. So when somebody is affected in those 6 areas of functionality, this person become dysfunctional. You cannot be productive, you cannot be competent, you cannot be contented, you cannot be creative. And we need to really help you to process this. I hope, Beryl, we are together.
Please repeat the 6 dimensions, tafadhali.
The 6 dimension, I've said when somebody has not processed these losses, they get affected in 6 dimensions of functionality. One of them is spiritually. You might lose faith or confidence even in your creator if you are a believer. So at least you start now having you develop anger and the hatred against your creator. As a creature, you develop anger towards your maker, and therefore this put a hinge between you and your maker. Psychologically, you get disturbed. You are not functioning. You have got something you're calling lack of wellness. You are not well because psychologically you are disturbed. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors cannot resonate because psychologically you are affected. And when your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are not in harmony, then we say that the individual is psychologically disturbed, and this person is not functioning normally. Then thirdly, physically, you get affected, and this physical effect, it is because you are still functioning at your thought level and at your feelings level. What normally happens is that now the body goes through a condition known as psychosomatization. Mentally, you are disturbed, and physically you are disturbed. So you have got the wounds on your body. The hand is disturbing you. You cannot sleep because of insomnia. You are disturbed, and therefore that condition is called psychosomatization. Psyche is your mind. The mind is disturbed. Soma is your body. Your body has got the wounds. It has got the lashes. You are not eating. You are getting emaciated. You are becoming thinner, and we start to wonder if that is a physical dimension. Socially, you isolate yourself. You isolate yourself, and therefore you become an antisocial being. Yet in the real sense of functionality, we are supposed to be social beings. I am because we need each other. When now I go hiding, then it's because I'm disturbed. Then philosophically, I've been a very, very intelligent person. Now, because of what I've gone through, I can't even remember. I'm in my own world. I'm completely outdated. Even I might forget my name. I might be seeing books and see disturbances instead of something that I enjoy. So philosophically, we are disturbed. Philosophy is the love of knowledge. So these days now, you're becoming more. You'll be feeling as if you're becoming more stupid these days or foolish. So you're not ready. That is philosophically. Then what else psychologically I've mentioned. Then physically, I'll talk about now your speed now, or your body now having problems. Sometimes you're having the muscle pulls and the rest. Sometimes you're really yawning, you are feeling your chest congested. Then emotionally, you become a very dangerous person, and you become very rude, because emotions have got a tendency to pressure. Emotions are like a double-edged sword there, and these emotions now, they are the ones which are going to cut on the negative side. So you can be very, very reactive, like angry name. They can be very brutal, you can be very, very hurting, and you've got no room for remorse. So even when you hurt people, you don't apologize for them because you're emotionally disturbed. And even mentally, you are not able to function well. So those 6 areas of of human functionality can get affected when one go through this kind of significant losses in life.
Okay, thank you. That is very thorough. I think that's a new perspective I didn't have.
Yes.
I only thought that loss affects us mentally, but now you've brought in the five more dimensions to
Yeah,
it.
actually, they're supposed
And
to be 6 actually. They're supposed to be
uh,
6
yeah,
spiritually.
in
Yeah, okay.
addition to the one that I knew,
Oh, thank you. Oh,
you've
yes, yes.
introduced, yes, you've introduced a broader range, and no wonder,
Thank
no
you.
wonder,
Mm.
loss feels very heavy. For
Sure.
example,
Mm.
I could have lost my phone, but it is just a phone, and I can get another phone. But I feel violated. I feel I've lost all my contacts. I don't know for how many years. It is very, very heavy. It weighs down on you, really.
Who said it's just a phone? Who said it's just a phone? In fact, the so-called phone might be just a murikamuizi, not even
Mhm.
your touch screen. Are you together? But
Yeah.
that murikamuizi is a treasured object. And so don't trivialize the significance of somebody's item. I know a friend of mine who they had quarrels with the spouse, and then out of anger, he removed the ring, the wedding ring from the finger, and threw to the spouse. And because it was at night, the ring got lost. That ring made this gentleman to develop depression. And to a layman, you might think a ring, what they just 3,000 can depress somebody. Yes, it is a treasured thing. That is a very treasured thing, small as it might be. Haven't you seen in our photo albums? We have got the photos of black and white, and today we're in the age of digital era. Why are we not discarding the black and white? That black and white photo is very important to us. Don't take it for granted. You see, the law is very important to me. I know the attachment I have with that black and white photo, or that photo I got when I was not able to wear shoes. Is very important to me, very significant. Or that room I was given by great grandfather. It is very important. If my wife remove it from where it is supposed to be, or put it on the fire to cook ugali for me, that ugali, it is irrelevant. The room is very significant. So let's not trivialize people's losses. However small they might appear to the person hearing, the person knows the attachment that they have with that thing. And that's why you need to really respect people's opinions, and respect the uniqueness.
Mm.
Yes.
Thank you for that. So we were still defining. We have defined grief very thoroughly.
Yes.
We are yet to define bereavement and mourning.
Bereavement. Wow.
Mm.
Bereavement. So when somebody is bereaved, now bereavement is a very simple term. When we say somebody is bereaved, it means that they have undergone a loss. It's as simple as that. When I have gone through a loss of something, and especially now maybe let me make it more clearer. Bereavement majorly the connotation, the general understanding that it will refer majorly, it has got a more emphasis on losing a loved person, somebody I love. So when I've lost maybe my parents, or I've lost maybe a child, then I am in a state of bereavement, because I've gone through a state of losing something that I had, or I've not been able now to keep that thing which I had. Therefore, I am bereaved. So bereavement is the state that people go through when they have lost something important in their life. That's a belief. It is a state of having suffered a loss. And this loss can be even an aspect of self. For instance, if I go to my physician, and because probably I'm feeling my eyes aching or having some problems, and the diagnosis that my physician gives me is that from today, you need to start wearing glasses. That medical diagnosis is not just a simple statement. I start wearing glasses. I would undergo a lot because what the doctor is communicating to me is that I have lost an aspect of self. I have lost my sight. Therefore, for me to wear the eyes or the glasses, it means I will first of all undergo a process of what? Bereavement, because I have gone through a loss of aspect of self. So that bereavement, that state of having lost or having been left alone because of something you want has gone. That is a state we are calling bereavement. I hope it is clear, Madam Amboy.
Yeah, so I'd like to clarify or paraphrase. So you're telling me, for example, God forbid,
Yes.
the people probably who've been amputated due to health reasons,
Healthy condition, yes, correct.
they've lost their limbs. They are
Yes,
also going through bereavement.
yes, and they are in that state because they lost an aspect of themselves.
So,
Yes, they lost a limb. They were
so
supposed to keep that limb.
bereavement.
Yeah,
Okay,
they are now
okay.
believed. And
Mm,
that is the understanding actually I would like people to understand, so that it's not just an English word that we have in bereavement. It is a state of having suffered a loss. That state of having suffered a loss is the one we are calling bereavement. Yes.
and that loss can be anything, including a job.
Yes.
Okay.
Because when you talk about now the categories of losses, loss captures us in the four major dimensions. That
We'll
is
come to the categories.
yes.
We'll come to
So
categories. Mhm.
thank you. Losing a job. A job is not something tangible. It's just an imagination that I'm working. Yeah, it's a symbolic loss. A job is something symbolical. It's not even your genetic makeup. A job. But now, the moment I lose it, I will go through a bereavement process, because remember, tomorrow I'll not report where I was supposed to be, because I've suffered a loss of a job. An individual will go through a bereavement process. And that's why sometimes people tend to hide themselves. They don't want to really be anywhere, everywhere, and tell people, "Oh, I lost my job," because they are going through the process of what? Bereavement. So
Bereavement.
it will affect you in one way or the other.
I think it's clear now.
Thank you.
Beryl is saying,
Yes.
thank you for that elaborated answer. I think the question she had asked previously, and
Thank
she's
you.
saying, she's
Mm.
asking, how can such people heal and accept the reality and move on? I think we'll cover that in a coming episode.
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
When
so
we come to the intervention process as we continue.
okay, so
And
Beryl,
yeah.
thank you for your question, Beryl. We will answer it in the later episodes of this topic, because we plan to have more. It's a very wide topic, and we have planned it in such a way that we cover all aspects.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying what bereavement is. Please tell us more about mourning.
Wow. Morning. Morning. From the Kenyan perspective, we have got even people who have been reborn professional mourners. Now, mourning is a common term, and thank you, Madam Wambui, for asking that question, because we tend also to confuse mourning with grief. And sometimes you have the people labeling others as you are a professional mourner. I had in your community you have got professional mourners. But now let's come to the actual understanding of the term mourning. What is this thing called mourning? Now, when you define mourning, we normally say mourning is the outward expression of grief. Mourning is the outward expression of grief. The outward. It's something that you can be able to see. It is the outward expression of grief, or it is what people on the outside see in this individual who has gone through a loss. And this expression is very, very, very important, because if people do not go through the mourning process, it will delay their ability to experience the healing. So it doesn't matter my cultural orientation, it doesn't matter my upbringing. When I go through a loss in life, and especially a significant loss in my life, that definitely, because I am a human being, I am expected to do the expression of this state I'm going through, and this is what is going to facilitate the healing. I know, especially from where I'm coming from, a man is not supposed to shed tears from my cultural orientation, where I've been born and brought up. These are the things that have happened to me ever since I was a small baby boy up to today. I hear those things. But I want to speak also to my community where I was born and brought up. And I want to tell them that this mourning is the process of understanding the value of tears. We've always seen tears from the negative point of view, and especially the we men, not the women, but the women syndrome has got a very negative impact on us, depending on our cultural orientation. So we need to move from the order of women to the point whereby we can be able to face the reality as it is and the process what is happening. So there is no shame in me shedding tears because I've gone through a painful experience in my life. There is no shame in me trying to urinate because of what I've gone through. There is no shame of me lying down and rolling myself because of what I've gone through. There is no shame of me deciding I don't want to see anybody becoming violent. It is normal because I'm in the process of mourning. There is no shame in me than abusing people when they try now to catch me or to constrain me from processing what is happening within me. That is very, 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 very important. And you might call me mad. Allow me to be mad for a short while. Tomorrow you appreciate me when I'm normal. So it's important, Madam Wambui. I hope you've gotten what I've defined as mourning. Is it, are we together? Hello? Wambui, sort of, I've lost you. Hello?
Sorry, I'd muted. I'm sorry for that.
Yes.
So thank you for that elaborate expression.
Yes.
And you're saying that as long as I'm in the period of mourning,
Yes.
I should be allowed to express myself in whatever way.
Genuinely. No matter how
Genuinely.
no matter how exaggerated you might do it, no matter your cultural style of dealing with it, if there are some cultural orientation, it is okay. It is important because when I go through the mourning process, what I'm doing is that it is gradually helping me to undo the ties that are tying me to the loved one or to the treasured being, like maybe the mobile phone we're talking about, or my cat. You know, cat sometimes they can be more important even than a human being. The cat, which is a pet, can be more important, or my doggy can be more important than even a living being. So I'm too attached. So when I am mourning, what I'm doing is that I am gradually undoing the psychological ties that bound me to the loved one or to the treasured object that I had, or to that pet that I really love, or to that job of mine. That's why you see people talking about now akietu. The so-called akietu, when there are some death maybe at the workplace or probably people have been sacked. The so-called akietu is part of what? The mourning process that they are doing. It is very medicinal, Madam Wambui. That akietu demonstration, the picketing we are doing, the demonstration is very important. It's part of what? The mourning, because now we are trying to undo the body. And that's why you see when we are burying a loved one, when we are burying a loved one, the clergy has got the tendency to tell, especially after the clergy team has drawn the soil, the next group is the family members. That throwing of the soil to the grave is one of the mourning activities which is very critical, because now the people, the members who have not died, the family members that have been left behind, what they are doing in that throwing of the soil, they are saying an appropriate goodbye to this person whom they have lived with, who has they have treasured for a long time. At the same time, they are saying an appropriate goodbye to all the roles and the functions and the benefit he has been given to them. And that's why people even start crying, especially when you start now lowering the body to the grave. That crying is very important. It's part of the mourning. Easy to They are very important because people now are already now letting, they are undoing the psychological ties that are bound them to the loved ones, and it is very important. And sometimes I see people trying to hold these family members. We complicate. Allow people to cry. Allow, if you are the clergy, give the members time to cry them on that particular moment, because now they are now getting in touch with the reality that surely this person is leaving us and is not coming back to us. It's very important. It's a moment to really help people to process. They are not in touch. And the failure to do this, failure to help people to mourn, what will happen later is that they will enter a state of denial. They have not accepted this thing or this person or this part of the body is going. They have not accepted it. And as a result, later on they'll come to somebody years later, they'll come to maybe to a friend's funeral. And when the body starts getting lower into the grave, they will be more hysterical in crying and dramatizing, and you wonder, why are they doing this? Is it because they really love this person who has died and this person is not even related to them? No, they are now burying their own wound in the rain to mourn over that time. This is delayed mourning. So people start wondering, Kwani, was this person a sponsor or Hungarian or whatever those labels they have in the country? Why is this particular person, even he is not my tribe mate, the person who has died is not even related to them? Why are they really crying this funeral and they didn't cry in their own? They delayed. Now they've gotten the opportunity. Allow them to cry. This is the time an opportunity now has come for them to gradually do the psychological ties that are bound them to the loved ones. And this is the only time they will be able to adopt to the Lord that they have gone through. Failure to adopt, they remain on denial. And also, this is the time they are now able to learn how to live healthy in the new world without the loved one. And so it's important to facilitate the people to go through this kind of a process to facilitate the healing process. It's critical. And maybe before I hand over to you, Madam Wamboi, allow me to say that culture, and especially my personal culture where I'm coming from, I'm not mentioning your culture, my own, it has got a tendency to make me, when I lose a loved one, I've lost my dad, I've lost my spouse, I've lost my child, I've lost a treasured thing that I had for my life, they have got a tendency to tell me to be strong. There's no room for being strong. If we want to make you mad, to make you to be depressed, to make you to have your diabetes and other health-related condition, let us tell you to be strong instead of facing the reality as it is. It will haunt you later. You pretend to be strong now. Later on, you come now to say that you are bewitched, you are cast by the person in body. There is no cast, there is no bewitchment. It is you who has delayed to process this. And this is what many people are going through. Over to you, Madam Wamboi.
I am stunned. I am stunned because you have really brought out an important aspect. And as you are talking about mourning, we hear people lamenting, this person meant this to me. And especially, allow me to use death as an example, because I think that is where mourning is more visible.
Correct.
You hear the person narrating, this person did this and this to me, this person used to do this for me. So when you have said that, when you allow that person to do that, they are accepting that this person is no more and this will no longer be happening. So they are, as it were, untying
the psychological cord or ties that have bound them together. Yes, they are undoing it. They are dealing with emotional divorce. Actually, the better psychological term is they are doing the emotional divorce now. That emotional divorce is very critical. Yes. Now, yeah, the emotional divorce or even the psychological, the spiritual divorce. Because, like, for the context of marriage, divorce is not yet divorce until we have done the spiritual and the psychological ties that are the bound us together. Because marriage is a very spiritual institution. The covenant we make, it requires to undo both spiritually and even psychologically. Yes, so we have to divorce those emotions. Until they are divorced, we will still be disturbed and we will remain in an utopia world.
I hear you. Thank you for that.
Welcome.
I think in a later episode we'll come to the different manifestations of grief. But
Correct.
right now, let us tackle the categories of losses. You mentioned them earlier. Let's
Yes.
take us through the categories of losses.
Categories of losses. Now, loss is intertwined. Loss is intertwined. And like I mentioned earlier on, is that life is loss and loss is life. On daily basis, we are undergoing losses. For instance, where I am right now at my developmental stage, with my aging, with my hair changing from black to white, that is a loss I'm undergoing. So, and therefore, there is a loss of aspect of myself because now I can no longer brag that I'm a Manyangamania again. Are you together? Even though I apply kiwi or I apply the dye, the true me is not the dye that I've applied. By applying those things, I'm denying the fact that I'm undergoing losses, and these losses are not reversible. Tomorrow, you not meet me as a boy sagging. I had the stage for sagging. I sagged when I was growing. Now you not meet me tomorrow sagging because I underwent a loss from now sagging stage to whereby now I need to know I'm undergoing early adulthood. I'm now in middle adulthood. So these losses are permanent. The beauty about developmental losses is that at least I lose that stage and then gain another stage. So loss connotes a loss and a gain in some instances. Now, categories of losses. We have got four major categories of losses, which are intertwined. You don't process one and think that at least now you are through because there's a link. For instance, and sorry, maybe let me first of all mention these categories. The first category of loss is what we call loss of a relationship. Loss of a relationship. We are relational in nature, Madam Wamboi. We are relational. So when probably the relationship between me and my wife does not work well, then I would undergo a loss of relationship. When the doctor told me that from today I'm not hearing well, I have lost my hearing. That hearing is not independent of me. It's not independent of me. It is part and parcel of me. Therefore, I have lost a relationship. That's why sometimes you hear people when they become sick, and especially for this notorious condition we are calling cancer, and they have been hospitalized, and then they undergo the chemotherapy. Then you hear somebody sending you to buy for them a wig, probably if it's a lady, to buy for them a wig. Don't start wondering why. It's because when they underwent the chemotherapy, they lost all the hair. And as a lady, you know, hair is your covering, is part of your beauty. It's a symbol of reverence that at least you are reverencing, you are respecting your spouse by covering your head from maybe the spiritual perspective. And so when people are requesting you to buy for them the wig, is because there is a relationship between their hair and themselves. That is a lot of aspects of it. So we have lost a relationship. We've lost a relationship. And then there is the other one, the loss of treasured objects. Loss of treasured object is the second category of losses. Treasured object can be anything. Treasured objects, it is not something that to the world will look something very big, something like an investment. Though investment is part, it might be just an earring. Just an earring, worth maybe 20 bob or 100 shillings, or a small chain. When that small chain gets lost, I have undergone a loss of a treasured object. No matter, you can buy for me, the chain was worth just 100 shillings. You are bringing for me a chain worth 1 million. It cannot equate the value I had for my 100 chain.
I want to add something. As you're talking about treasured objects,
yes.
I remember my son when he was young, he had broken toys. They were broken. They're not even brand new.
According to you, yes.
According to me,
they were broken. Yes.
So to me, I'm thinking these toys have served their purpose.
Yes.
They are broken. They should be thrown away. And according to me. So my son told me, no, those are my toys. Leave them alone. Leave them there where you found them.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. And you thought they were even identifying the house, eh?
I was even thinking they're ugly to look at. But he said, no, I like my toys the way they are broken. Leave them alone. And when you said that about treasured objects, that gave me a new definition of treasured objects. And like you're saying, they don't have to be of high monetary value.
Correct.
It is what they mean to the owner.
Me, yes. I'm the owner, yes. That is the most important. That's the significant bit now. The significance they have on me, not on other people. And that's why now you need to enter the world of other people. You need to. That's why now the place of empathy is very important, so that we exchange our goggles. The goggles I was wearing, wear them, and you know these broken toys, what they mean to me. Instead of you remaining with your goggles and then thinking that this is dirty, you are dirtifying the house, this is childish, you are not growing well. Those comments is from your own frame of reference. My frame of reference is unique. You need to respect it and understand it, Madam Wabui. So treasured objects. Then the other category of loss is now the developmental losses. Now, developmental losses is a complex. Those losses are complex. The developmental losses, they are complex because they can refer, first of all, to my aging process from when I was an infant to early childhood, to late childhood, to adolescence, to young adult, to middle adult, and to old age. Those are developing. I'm developing. Are you together? And so today, Madam Wambo, even as we are talking, people will be cheating you to tell you that, hey, today you look younger. The fact remains, today you look older, not younger. Don't be cheated. Those are lies of the S order. Today you look older because it's another 1 day extra from what you had yesterday. Yesterday you are younger, but today you look older. Don't be cheated that you look younger. So that's a developmental loss. We don't want to hear those terminologies. We want to deny the reality, but the reality remains reality. So developmental losses. Apart from those, now probably you had invested your money on maybe on some products along the road reserves. Now the government has started out to do away with them. That is a developmental loss. You can go berserk. Maybe your vehicle, which you had bought, which is part of the developmental properties, has gotten an accident that has become written off. That's a developmental loss. Your house that you really built on, you have bought on mortgage, or probably you took the loan, you are struggling still with the loan, has gone on fire, and you've lost everything. The cows you earned, like what happened during the post-election violence, those were developmental losses. Especially when the fire gathered on people's properties and their livestock, those are developmental losses, and they have got a lot of impact on people. They need to be processed, and this time now you can be able to know whether people have healed. That's why people need to be taken through conflict resolution, so that they can be able to deal with the harmony of themselves and the significant others, or the environment where they are, because these losses touches they have a lot. People have invested a lot. So when they go through these developmental losses, sometimes they become mad, sometimes they get high blood pressure when they recount what they have gone through and what has happened within the twinkling of an eye. And that's why when disasters strike, one of the key areas they touch is on the developmental losses. And remember, I said life is about the losses is about life. Therefore, even though we say and do whatever we do, even with our faith, because of the natural disasters and the man-made disasters, we can never run away from this. Most important thing is always be prepared to respond to this kind of losses when they come, and learn coping mechanism so that you don't get stuck where the disaster struck. And that's why we have to go through now those moments, the stages of grieving, the stages of processing this loss that we've gone through, so that we can be able to maintain our psychological well-being, which will make us now to be balanced even in terms of our spirituality, in terms of our psychological state, in terms of our philosophical state, in terms of our emotional, physical, and all those dimensions of functionality.
I like how you have explained developmental loss, because it's a term.
Sorry. Yeah, yes. Finish up that. I have forgotten the last one. Sorry, I thought we had finished that one. Boy, sorry.
I just want to add, I want to affirm what you're saying about developmental losses.
Yes.
And commonly we hear, especially in a Kenyan society,
Yes.
when someone probably they've experienced a burglary
Yes.
ama simu yake imeibiwa, watu sema
Mhm.
hao wezi wamenirudisha nyuma. So we are
Yes.
acknowledging the fact that hao wezi wameturudisha nyuma maendeleo.
Wametu affect developmentally. That's a loss.
Development,
That's a
yes.
developmental loss. Yes. Ni vile hatuna the right language to talk about it, but what we mean is that we have gone through developmental loss. Yes, that's what this individual is communicating to you. And so come in and help this particular part of the process.
Okay. So I'm seeing we are out of time for our show today, but I don't want to let you go before. I know people are waiting for the future episodes, but probably we can leave them with something they can work with in the meantime.
Wait,
So
just allow me. Okay, allow me in less than a minute
yes,
to talk maybe about the final category of loss, which is the loss of loss of aspect of self.
okay. Then we will
Please.
come to that later.
Yeah, loss of aspect of self. Yes, loss of
Okay.
aspect of self has to do
Yes.
with if you have to go to the hospital to be amputated. If you have to go, even if you have to go for an operation, especially in the theater, you see, it's a demand for people to sign the document that so and so is going where to the theater, because we who are having this person who required to go to the theater, when you are signing the document, you are saying two things: this person might come back or might die. Are you together? It's a psychological way of preparing even ourselves for those loss of aspect of self, because this person was important. So when I have to be amputated, I've lost an aspect of myself. When I have to go through circumcision, like I know very soon we'll be going towards the rites of passage, that's a loss of aspect of self. This circumcision rite we are doing for the boys, they need to be prepared about the loss of aspect of self, because that part of the body will not come back. It is going permanently. It's a loss. The boys are going through the rite of passage. They will go through the aspect of self. There is a part of themselves which will go never to be reversed again. When now a child is when now I have to change from this stage of development to the other, from adolescent to young adulthood, is a loss. So those are aspects of self. If I have to wear the glasses, that's a loss of aspect of self. If I underwent through an accident and a certain part has to be removed, that's a loss of aspect of self. So that is the fourth category of loss, and they have got an impact on the individual. They are my losses, and therefore they are intertwined. So when you process one, don't say that it is over until you have this part of the process, the other, and the other, for them to be holistic. Back to you, Madam Aboy.
Thank you for that. And you've also brought out another aspect. I didn't realize that even those that go through rites of passage are also experiencing a loss. It might just look like a normal ritual, but you're saying that it's also important for them to be prepared.
Yes, psychologically, that they have gone through a loss of aspect of self.
True.
And it can affect the performance. A bright boy can, after the rite of passage, stop now performing very well academically, because they have not processed what? The loss of that aspect of themselves that got lost during the rite of passage.
Wow.
and they can start becoming indisciplined. Then you wonder, why are we circumcising boys thinking that they're going to be more in this discipline and they are not? Because we not process what? The loss. So understand it from that way.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
As we are winding up, I just want to leave our audience with a survivor pack or a few tips they can use before our next episode, because I'm seeing the questions are many. And please address two kinds of people.
Yes.
One, those who are currently going through a loss of whatever type rather. What can they do right now to take care of themselves? Then number two, those that are supporting those who are going through a loss. What can they do to make it easier for that person to process their loss, and things they should avoid doing so that they don't complicate the loss for this person? Like what I was doing with my son's toys. I thought I am doing him a favor by getting rid of his broken toys, but I didn't realize I am treading on dangerous ground.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Wambui. Now, for those who are undergoing any of those categories of loss that we've gone through, as a parting shot for this session, allow me to say that the best remedy for them is to do something called self-care. They need to love themselves selfishly. And when you talk about self-care, is that they should stop focusing on the loss so much and start doing activities that will facilitate their wealth, because loss took place. They need first of all to accept that they have gone through a loss. After accepting, they need to accept to go through the pain. They need to say an appropriate goodbye, and then start engaging in activities that are going to be constructive. First of all, they need to eat a well-balanced diet. They need to drink plenty of water as part of self-care, because they might think that they are not thinking, but they are thinking, and therefore they are getting emotionally drained by the negative thoughts they are having and they are processing. They need also to relax. They should avoid taking any form of drug or engaging in any behavior that can be that can be damaging to them. They should not isolate themselves. They need to socialize with the people. Based on their wiring, they can also engage in reading some motivational books and maybe some religious scriptures, like the Christians, they can engage on the Holy Bible, and the Muslim can engage on the Holy Quran, the Hindus can engage on the Bhagavad Gita. Those depending on our religious inclination and our religious books that we are having. They are also supposed to go for personal counseling. And the counseling can be done either for individual or for group. And they also need to engage in spiritual activities like prayer, meditation, reading the Word of God, having that quiet time. But I would not encourage them now to fast at this stage. I would not encourage them to fast, because this fasting, it is going to make their health to deteriorate them more, because they are already processing emotions. Then I would also encourage them to talk more about whatever they have lost, because the more they talk about it, the more they are relieving themselves of what they have gone through. And they should not be embarrassed about verbalizing whatever is happening. Those who are undergoing the loss. Those are just but some of the few tips. Probably during the next time we'll be able to go more comprehensively. And for those who are supporting the people who have undergone through loss, first of all, learn how to manage your loss. Learn how to manage your stress, because when you stress yourself in the name of helping, then definitely will be two bright people who are going out to fall in a pit. So those who are helping you, even you, your self-care is very important. Don't stress yourself. Avoid the stresses. Sleep well, eat well, relax well, sleep early, meditate. Don't take any painkillers. Don't bring the particular person who has gone through the loss and carry them. Stand with them where you can. Don't overdo things. Don't overuse your resources, because these people, they still have resources. And ensure you don't criticize them, you don't condemn them, you don't rebuke them. walk with them this journey. Is for a short while you overcome this, and more so love yourself also, selfishly, and engage yourself in exercises, in activities that are productive to you, and have the so-called cognitive restructuring or constructive thought processes. See the world from the positive side, not from the negative point of view, and appreciate your maker for the strength and even the opportunity to be alive, and also for the chance to serve this particular person who is going through a loss. See it as an opportunity for fellowship, an opportunity for growth, that your creator has given you an opportunity to serve this particular person. So in a nutshell, maybe that's what I'll say for now, Madam Wambui.
Thank you so much. We are very grateful for unpacking this topic and also for removing ignorance in some cases. I'm seeing what you're saying, that loss is life and life is loss. It seems like we will be experiencing loss on a daily basis. So it's for us to strengthen our coping mechanisms and our level of awareness, so that when these losses happen, we are not caught off guard and they do not devastate us as well. Yeah. Sawa sawa. Thank you, and until next time, see you then.
Bye bye, Madam Wambui.
Bye. Thank you.
Welcome.